Today I will be streaming a session of Bone White, which is a Kickstarter preview by Ember and Ash. And so this is the promotional incursion for their ZineQuest funded project, Richter the Rotting City. It's a setting for Trophy and promises to have a lot of really cool stuff in it. And so, today I will be streaming that, and I am Mags Maynard. I use they, them, and I will be the GM today. And so, with that, I guess, Brian, do you want to start off by introducing yourself?
Sure. Brian Sago, and teacher and artist.
Carla. Cool. And last but not least, Dissonance.
Hi, you can call me Justin if you can remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a Seattle-based microscopist and analog game designer. I'm excited to play Trophy today.
Cool. And so the intro blurb for this incursion. This is, I guess let's go through Cats real fast, which is concept. And so this is a trophy RPG incursion. Like many other trophy incursions, this is play to lose. And I believe, Zesty, you gave me a better phrase for that, but you will suffer and probably die by the end of this incursion. And so this particular incursion, you are committing an act of kind of industrial sabotage in a factory set in the rot-filled part of Richter. And so that's the concept. I need to actually briefly look up what the acronym CAT stands for again. I know that might just be a little... There we go. AIM, yeah. AIM, industrial sabotage, but also playing to find out what happens to your characters along the way. And so there is no winning, there is no coming out on top. That should remove the pressure from you to make optimal decisions and put the pressure on to make narratively interesting decisions. And so we will find what end that we want. This is a horror incursion. Much of Trophy RPG is based around horror. This particular one is in a porcelain factory. So expect creepy doll things, again, dust, and anything else that you might expect to see in a ruined factory. And then subject matter, again, inherited from Trophy. There will probably be inter-party tension. In fact, I will encourage that, not to the point of denying each other's narratives, but rather to the point of not necessarily always being narratively aligned with each other. And then also, there is dust, and this incursion introduces something known as white lung, as your lungs become choked with porcelain dust. And so content warnings really for that. But other than that, it's a porcelain factory. Any questions, comments, or concerns at this point? Cool. Accidentally break a plate, scream. So, blurb for this incursion. There are rumors surrounding a rot-ruined porcelain factory complex in Bottlekill Park that, although the owner of this factory has not been seen for decades, they are correcting production. that they were so blinded by their desire to perfect their unique formula of porcelain that they refused to relocate despite the obvious twisting growth of the rot. No humans admit to working at the ruined factory. The kiln still issues smoke, and the occasional piece of extraordinarily high quality porcelain emerges, clutched in the arms of a careworn factory mannequin. Thin as paper, translucent, stronger than stoneware. The other factory owners cannot compete with the quality of these pieces. The treasure hunters, which is you, the characters, have been hired to recover the recipe and shut down the factory by whatever means necessary. So again, this is industrial sabotage and espionage. But with that, I'd like to know more about who our treasure hunters are. And so, Brian, I guess, do you want to start with introducing your character?
So, Carla is a former beast-bitten, a cured beast-bitten. She had a tangle with a werewolf and...
Are you just trying to confuse the issue here?
How so? What do you mean?
Oh, because Carla is Carla.
I have a name that is very similar to what you have.
So, I did not notice that. I can change my name. I'm sorry. Real life name. Got it. Okay.
Actually care, but I feel like I'm gonna.
And then I've got a friend whose name is Carl. Carl is nearing the end of his life, and I thought, okay, Carl, that would be good. And that will change on Kurt. And then I thought, I'll play a female character with a male character, and I landed on Carl, and it was a horrible decision, so I'm going to change it. So, give me a 3 seconds to come up with a better name that's not your name, so that's no problem. But I'm glad you pointed it out. And this person who shall be named in a moment is had a tangle with a werewolf, and she lived to regret it. And in those moments of transformation, did some damage, and in regret has sought a profession as a medicus, and so has become skilled in humor, sickness, and wounds, trying to sort of rebuild goodwill in society, but also desires to, in the end, bribe the Justicars so that they will erase her crimes.
Cool. We will come back to find out.
How was that?
Anna? Nice. I guess Zusty, let's introduce your character.
So Virgil tried to be a doctor as directed by his family, just wasn't actually good enough to be one, and ended up falling back on the trade of being an undertaker, which kept him alive and was not as prestigious, but you do what you can. His significant other, Vess, died of let's see what happened. It was a preventable disease, but it wasn't prevented, and so he has sort of he's got a little bit of an obsession with correctly preserving their body, and he doesn't really have a lot of time because that's how bodies are, but he wants to be able to preserve them in a like a glass coffin so that he can appreciate them and so that everyone can see what a wonderful person they were. And he just doesn't have the skills. He didn't have the skills to be a doctor, and he doesn't have the skills to indefinitely preserve the body of his beloved, and he's just hoping to get some money and get some learning thereby.
That is gruesome. I like it.
Miss Haversham vibes.
That's good. I like that. I should lean into that more.
So dissonance, or Justin.
Yeah. So I'm playing I'm also playing an actual doctor, not a medical doctor, but a doctor of mathematics, Dr. Barrett, who he is a mathematician and occultist who sought to merge the two in his opus of a novella. But that got him some flack in court, and he was disgraced by the Sultan of Borobudur, who just punched holes in his work. And he never recovered, and is seeking revenge against the man. Of course, it also turns out that there's something to his theories. I think that in addition to mathematics, he studied coincidence and patterns.
Mm.
Nice.
My character is going to be so jealous of you all being actual doctors.
Yeah, I've published a book and I've given lectures, but
Oh,
I'm certainly not employed anywhere now.
it counts though. You have that. You got that PhD after your name, and I don't know. It's just chagrining.
So it's drizzling as you approach the factory, and you can see its rotted and ruined exterior behind some rusted gates and a high wall. After you pass through the gates, which stand ever so slightly ajar, but creak and flake if disturbed, you can see the imposing factory structure and its two large entryway doors. Next to the factory sits a bottle kiln from which issues a steady stream of smoke. The factory building is also covered in plants, which are thick and bloom with white flowers, and could certainly be climbed if any of you were nimble and sure of foot.
I missed one word. You said it was covered in plates?
Plants, yes.
Plants. Okay, sorry, thank you.
I suppose this is a porcelain factory. I understand the question. Yes, no. So, imposing double doors shut at the front of the factory, and then plants all over the walls. And so some action needs to be taken. How do you intend to get in?
Well, fellows, is there any reason why we shouldn't just go in the front door? Or, what do you all think about the likelihood of ambush, or what have you?
Just the tiniest minor thing before going through the front doors is just take a quick peek at the smoke emanating from the bottle kiln and essentially see is there heat behind it, or is this just an illusion that there's smoke coming up?
How do you intend to see that?
When you say there's a kiln, is this an above ground sort of structure, or is this just a chimney coming out of the ground?
It's an above ground structure. It's attached to the factory, and it is quite tall. You could easily stand inside. So it's not just like
on the top of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then maybe my idea is ridiculous.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good question. Is this factory still active? I just wanted to know how you intended to pursue that question.
Well, it sounds like that would be a get to the roof via climbing vines to reach it.
I think Barrett, who is a he's not a fighter per se, but he's been doing treasure hunting for some time. I think he's a tall man with some muscled arms, but otherwise thin, and with a thick brown coat and glasses. And he kind of looks and he says, porcelain has come out of this factory time and time again. Perhaps we're just collecting. Use that as an excuse.
Mm-hmm. For a front door entry.
Yeah, I think he nods agreement there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sometimes the most straightforward way is acceptable.
And with that, I think he'll just undo a hemp sack that's normally for gathering loot or other things, and kind of just unfurl it and throw it over his shoulder to add to the appearance.
So who's trying the door?
I suppose I said something, so I'll push it.
Something seems to be pushing back. The door is unlocked, and you can feel a little bit of give, but the door does not swing open.
Does it look climbable?
The plants to either side certainly do.
Yeah.
They have these large, kind of plate-sized white flowers.
I'll knock. I'll give it a rap and call out. And if no one comes, we'll have to try something else.
So you give the door a rap and call out, and you, listening for a response, you hear the patter of little feet on the other side of the door, but no voices call back, and the door remains stuck.
Is it safe to assume that we walk the perimeter of the building to see if there's a back door, or should we do that?
That does sound safe to assume. Does only he hear the feet, or do we all hear it?
You can all hear the feet.
Does it sound like biped or quadruped or
Biped.
What, if anything?
Biped.
Got it. Well, that's very interesting. Perhaps someone has beaten us to the punch. Entered before us.
Well, it's known that mannequins have exited the factory carrying out the completed works, right? So I'm envisioning a crowd of mannequins that for some reason doesn't want customers inside.
Around the back of the building, you can see a number of discarded and broken glass bottles, as if an old crew of workers would have taken their breaks out here, but you do not see another way in.
Well, shall we climb a vine? I'm
happy to get out of this cold.
I like it. Let's do it. All right. Are we talking one story up to a window that might be openable, or what's above us?
Yeah. There are windows that are higher up on the walls, or you could climb all the way to the roof.
I'll give you a boost.
Yeah, let's go for that window. Thank you. I'll take that boost, and I will do my best to climb.
I guess that sounds like a risk roll, right? This is,
Yep.
You are climbing thick vines up the side of a building, and so I think really the consequence here is that you fall and acquire some minor injury. I guess does that sound reasonable?
Sure. Definitely. Remind in the dice roll is risk, just slash risk, and you hit enter.
Slash risk, and then you need to know the number of light dice and the number of dark dice. And so.
Okay, so we're waiting for double bargain.
You
Yeah.
can you can see the previous rolls for syntax.
Yep.
And you have a light die if you have a relevant skill, or for Devil's Bargain. And a dark die if you use a ritual or choose to put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah. In terms of the skills, I don't know. Wounds is like the inverse. I don't want a wound. But I don't think that's really a truly relevant skill right now. Devil's Bargains, though? Bring them on.
I mean, I want to argue for you here. But you do have transformation, and that seems like a very broad skill.
Oh, how about that?
So dig some claws in a little deeper?
Perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds good. So maybe my fingernails grow a little bit longer and give me a little more purchase on the vines?
Sure. You were once beast bitten. Or perhaps are still beast bitten.
Right. Devil's Bargains?
I think a devil's bargain here is that as you are struggling for handholds on the walls, you crush some of these flowers.
Can I offer a competing devil's bargain as a player?
Absolutely. Anyone can offer a devil's bargain.
Yeah. My thinking here is he is going to be the first one up, and therefore once he gets up he can help the rest of us. But my thought maybe is he winds up somewhere else.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's within the fiction you have in mind, but or I guess she.
She in this case, yeah.
Oh yeah, she.
No,
alternately, I guess she could successfully climb, but kick the vines down behind her so that we can't follow.
Right.
Oh dear.
Or something,
Yeah.
or not the same way at least. Something like that.
Yep.
All right. Let's go with the crushing of the flowers and see what happens to these important flowers.
Okay.
This
So
is the worst, or the least worst of the bad options.
Maybe.
as you
Right.
climb these vines and you're reaching out and grabbing these flowering stems, you find that this is an enlarged version of Queen Anne's lace. The flowers are white and approximately plate-sized and extremely elaborate in their formation. However, they are extremely dry and brittle, and so as you reach out for these flowers, they powder to white dust, which blows in your face with a slight breeze. But first you should make your risk roll. Sorry, I jumped the gun there.
Alright. So 2 light dice, any dark dice?
If you're willing to put yourself at risk or use a ritual.
Rolled a 6.
Excellent. So yeah, you easily climb up to the top, but in the meantime you need to make a ruin roll.
Right. That is higher than my current.
That'll do it.
Yep. So Anna's ruin is now 4.
So this was a white lung ruin roll.
Any conditions associated?
Yes. And so your joints ache and you become clumsy.
Oh dear. Right.
The stems of these flowers are extremely thick and extremely strong. And once you get, do you go for one of the windows or the roof?
I was thinking the window and try and
Okay.
bring us in.
So there is a window. It's a kind of a high second story window that you can easily break in and jump down. However, it is very high.
Internally, you mean?
Yes. It is a long fall.
Oh, so the drop within
Yeah.
the window is.
And you can, looking
All
down
right.
through the
Is it
window,
possible to?
see a dozen mannequins holding shut the front door.
It sounds like the roof may be better for the time being. Let me climb further up and get to the roof and see what's up there.
Okay. There are several skylights up here on the roof.
All right. Do I need to cast a rope down to assist my incursion mates, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you probably have to toss a rope down to pull them back up. And if you do that, you don't need to make a risk roll. Like, you're on the roof.
Okay.
These plants are really thick and sturdy, the branches of them. And
Right.
so you can then anchor the rope to climb down through the skylight. And you wouldn't need a risk roll for
All right. And
jumping.
through a little bit of coughing and wheezing breath, I will recommend to hold your breath while ascending so that you don't get a lung full of giant Queen Anne's lace.
Yeah, I'll take out a handkerchief and kind of press it to my face as I climb up.
Good advice.
Mm-hmm. Do you suppose we've done a treasure hunt before?
I'll let you all
Out of
answer that,
Character
actually.
question.
You as a character could easily
not?
have.
Yes.
Have you worked together before?
Treasure hunt or industrial sabotage?
I
can
like
see
that
some-
idea. Yeah, industrial sabotage.
Well, that
I would have a reason for that, having a revenge plot and all.
And certainly
If you're
in
on
a
a path
city,
to build,
it seems like a lucrative version.
if you're on a path trying to build the proper glass coffin, it seems like there might be some room for previous infiltrative work around glass factories, trying to
That's interesting.
find the proper
And or
glass
chemicals, I suppose. Specific chemical factories or magic chemicals. I don't really know what exists in this world.
Alchemical
But
reagents.
yeah, that actually would make total sense. There, of course. Yes, alchemy. How could I forget? This is why I failed medical school.
So, Virgil, you remember that time we busted into the plate glass factory trying to find the means by which they were making the larger panes of glass that didn't shatter?
Of course.
Right, and we brought in Dr. Barrett thinking that he could understand the formulas, and it didn't quite go according to plan.
Well, I suppose you're right. Doesn't always.
But, rest assured, we will one day, perhaps even here, find the means to prepare the glass large enough to make this coffin you desire for Vess's body preservation.
You're too kind. I appreciate your assistance in this matter. I will, of course, do my best to assist you with your goals. How could I not?
So here you are on the roof together, preparing to climb down.
I think so.
Yeah. Can we lower a vine into the building? Can we find an area that is less populated by mannequins?
Yeah, I think it might be an interesting scene to have us kind of skirting the wall here, or like the edge of this escarpment or whatever it is, and finding a better purchase somewhere else.
So once you've climbed down, you're gonna look for a path through where you can avoid the mannequins. Is that what I'm hearing, or you're gonna look for the skylight
Well, we could
that
also-
gives you the best path to avoid mannequins?
Perhaps that first.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So it's difficult, the scouting here, because Um, floor is covered in porcelain shards, and completed pieces of porcelain, which mean that the mannequins themselves blend in very well. And in fact, you come to a skylight which is adjacent, and the drizzling rain you can see is dripping down just like a pile of plates, occasionally knocking one loose, and you'll see it clatter down and smash to the floor, and all the mannequins turn to look and resume their places, holding the door. But at some point, you find one in an extra abandoned corner, I guess I would say, given this whole place is abandoned by humans. It's dark and shadowed here. So perhaps you could avoid the mannequins.
Right. Let's see if we can lower Vine down from that window into that shaded area and try to climb down it, I suppose, unless anyone has a better idea.
That seems about right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So I also think this is going to be a risk roll for the stealth. Right? You are trying to sneak around the mannequins. And so here I would say the consequence is the mannequins notice you. And so I don't know who wants to lead that one.
I haven't any skills that would really help with stealth.
Masking?
I actually would be.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, alternately, I could mirage myself and try to look like a mannequin.
Sorry, Dr.
I mean,
Barry.
why not mirage us all?
Why not? Yes. Let's try it. That sounds fun.
Okay, so risk roll 1 for the ruin, one for the ritual, so 1 dark die. You're not using any skills.
Am I not using masking?
Which skill are you using? Sorry.
Masking, perhaps.
Okay, you can be using
I'm literally masking us.
Sure. So 1 for the skill and 1 for the ritual.
Yes.
And I guess
So 1/1.
a brief aside, yeah, 1/1 unless you would like a devil's bargain. For people who are watching and may not know how trophy works, the core mechanic is a risk roll whenever you do something risky. And you get a number of light and dark dice, and if the highest number rolled is a 6, you succeed. A 4 to 5, it's a partial success, and a 1 to 3, it gets worse. And you collaboratively determine how many dice you have.
This looks like a partial success, and it looks like my ruin is going up.
Exciting.
Unless I guess.
So you lower the vine and creep down it, and just as you get to the bottom, you see a child-sized mannequin laying on its side who looks up at you and says, Da? Da?
Is this before or after
Who?
we've been disguised?
After.
Okay.
What does it say? Forgive me, I missed it.
Da? Who? Where Dolly? Isn't Da? Isn't it today? Where Dolly? And the child doll turns its head, and you can see that part of its head has been smashed. But the noise of her calling alerts some nearby mannequins who follow you suspiciously. And
I kind of want to have just picked up that doll briefly and looked at it closely, only to just toss it back into the pile whenever the other mannequins approach us.
Callous. And so your ruin went up. You've been here before. You were the owner and the head artist. You know how to make the porcelain. You would never leave your factory. That is your condition.
All right. Is there a name for that, or ought I to interpret?
Interpret it how you would like.
All right.
Recognition, maybe?
It kind of sounds like... I don't know. Alignment with it, or something. But specifically, would never leave, you say, and understand it?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
And so a small group of mannequins is approaching. One's, still made of porcelain, unusually graceful.
Virgil is not afraid of them because he knows that they are doing their jobs and it is right for them to be doing their jobs. So he does not immediately turn tail or anything like that.
What about the others? Anna and Dr. Barrett.
I feel like I want to scoop up this damaged child mannequin and essentially attend to it. Try to patch up what can be patched up in a mannequin-like way.
Dr. Barrett?
Yeah, I think having discarded it, I think I'm trying to just blend in. So just moving a little robotically and following after Virgil.
So, Anna, you're using...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You're using your doctor nature to tend to this child mannequin?
Actually, yeah, that makes a great deal of sense. It's got a wound of a sort. I'm quite curious about its humors.
So... How about you make me a risk roll? I think the risk here is that you are so distracted tending to this child mannequin that you do not notice when the three more hostile ones approach.
Alright. Do I need devil's bargains for a risk roll?
You don't need them. You're welcome to have them. They would give you additional light dice.
You need to put a number, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just realized that as I tried to type it in.
You have skills.
Alright, so does anybody have devil's bargains?
Well, you have a skill, right? So
yes.
This is wounds. So you get one light die for that.
Yes.
If you're using a ritual, you'd get one dark die. And I think the devil's bargain here is that there is lots of fragmented porcelain around here, but nothing with which to mend it. And so you would need to use your own blood.
Ooh, interesting.
You have extra humors. Why be stingy?
Right? Exactly. I was feeling a little bilious there or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
A little phlegmatic. Alright. Any other devil's bargains?
Let's see.
What if the other mannequins attempt to help you, but then they won't leave?
What if you succeed, but the child continues to follow us and is like uncontrollable in general?
Oh dear.
You don't have to pick it.
Yes. All right. Given my former nature as a kind of a remorsive beast bitten here, I think the idea of shedding a little of my own blood to help, perhaps vainly try and patch it up seems reasonable. So let's go with.
So, where are you
using
extracting
my
this
own-
blood from, and how?
I'm gonna call forth a sharp, disgusting talon from my own finger and slit a vein and kind of try to disguise it so others don't see it, because I'm a bit embarrassed by this condition, truthfully. But slit open my own vein on my wrist and smear a bit of that to the palm and try and caress the shattered skull of this child mannequin as I try to patch it up in what way I can.
Okay. That sounds great. So, how about you roll?
Oh, look at you!
Wow.
Yeah. So,
No, you got a 6.
the others, Dr. Garrett and Virgil, thank you. You see Anna drop almost as if in a trance, and she is pulling different pieces of porcelain from all over the floor and like assembling this little child mannequin like a puzzle. And in the end, you see a beautiful child doll that is almost as if it had never been broken, except for it still maintains the injury to its head. And she stands up incredibly gracefully, and as she does so, the three that were approaching more hostilely take a slight step back. This particular mannequin was never meant to work. She is a piece of art. And certainly, whatever she was before she was broken, it is some of the finest porcelain work that you have ever seen. And now that she has been repaired, now that she has been repaired, she would still have a place in any of the finest exhibit halls in the city. And she whispers, "Please, come in. Well, come in." And she points to a sturdy oak door on the other side of the factory and begins skipping in that direction.
Sounds like we should follow her.
Absolutely does. Mags, you were breaking up a little bit
Oh.
in general. Do you all hear this also?
I
thought that
did.
breaking up was verbal role playing. I may be wrong.
I do not. It sounds digital to me.
Interesting.
I do not know if that is easily
Yeah.
fixable.
I heard it, but you were also completely understandable. So
Yes.
Okay, good. If it's my internet connection, I can't fix it. Because commercial business building and can't reach the router.
Yeah.
But I did just check the connections on my mic, and I think one was a little loose, so I hope that fixed it.
Maybe that was it.
I do think Barrett will see this child doll go skipping by them and kind of just speak offhandedly to Virgil and say, Virgil, have you ever heard of people procuring payment for the porcelain from this factory?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yes. My information indicates that it's so fine and perfect that there are many collectors, and not to mention exhibits, museums, you know, the useless things that rich people love to amass. It's absolutely one of those things in my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong, by the way.
But
No.
if no one is allowed inside, which they must be, of course, but if no one is allowed inside and it's all mannequins in here, who would accept such a payment, and
So
where would it be stored?
outside of outside of character, so I kind of thought that the mannequins would occasionally like take stuff out of the factory and do something with it. So I kind of assumed that at that point that would be the trade for resources or some other kind of thing, but maybe that's incorrect.
I mean,
My
that sounds right to me.
interpretation is you could decide that right now.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay, well, yeah, so Virgil assumes that it takes resources and money to keep this thing running, regardless of, you know, whether the mannequins themselves need money or additional porcelain. So he assumes that the mannequins go out and sell the results to various collectors that they make arrangements with. So that's what he thinks.
Picturing a
Well-
Dickensian sort of Fagin character driving these mannequins into the street to hustle porcelain wares.
Well, that is good. That means there must be someone alive in here, someone who we can talk to,
Well, perhaps.
shake down, or ransom off.
Perhaps.
Well,
and I'll go following closely after the mannequin girl.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
as you step through the heavy oak door, you stop and blink a little because you find yourself back in the same room where you first entered, on that small patch of floor in the dark corner. Except there seems to be fewer porcelain shards this time, and the mannequins you saw before and hundreds more are sitting at potting wheels, working at desks, animatedly discussing plans with each other, or loading completed work into fireboxes. To one side, you see a table cluttered with examples of previous work, some quite lovely and others quite awful. And you can see scribbled notes next to each of these examples.
Assuming that we're still under the illusion, I think I want to. I'd certainly pause for a moment, like worried that we'll be accosted by hundreds of mannequins, but then I remember that we look like them. And I kind of just want to boldly lead us out into the factory floor and start reading these notes and kind of get a picture for like who they're going to and what else I can glean.
So the notes seem to be feedback from some maestro. Certainly, next to the nicest example of work, it says barely passable. The note, and next to some of the poorer examples, you see notes that say such things as, "How did you do this? Terrible. Wouldn't even hold water." And so whoever this porcelain master is giving this feedback is quite brutal in his criticism. But yeah, as you step through the factory floor, you are completely ignored by the mannequins. Although at the far side of the room, you see another oak door and a tall, wide-set figure watching you. That figure is dressed well, in a nice gray suit, but he wears a mask of solid white. But does not seem to react to your exploration of the factory floor.
Well, we're here perhaps to do some sabotage. So as dangerous as it might seem, I think I want to get up to some mischief, and if there's anything I can toss like way too much glass powder into, or any kind of machine I can gum up, I kind of want to slowly make my way over to it and cause some kind of distraction or disturbance in the factory floor.
Is it like but it's not like an assembly line, it's all kind of like individual workers? It's sort of like a piecework kind of situation, or is that correct?
Each of these
like
mannequins
Santa's
is working on their own. Like, they seem to have different jobs. You have mannequins that are working on wheels, and you have mannequins that are carrying around fireboxes and collecting the completed work. But they're not, it's not like one person smacks a bit of slip on and passes it to someone else who joins a handle. Like, yeah.
Right.
Then
as
then
you
maybe...
step across the floor in kind of with malice in your heart, looking for things to sabotage, you kind of feel briefly dizzy, and your foot slips through the porcelain coating that you had assumed was the floor, and you find yourself in a waist-deep pool of clay slip.
Oh.
And the others of you also feel yourself sinking.
That's... And are the other mannequins just striding over this, no problem, or are they avoiding this?
They are striding over this, no problem.
Sure it is.
Okay.
I wonder if
Well,
they're too heavy.
Yeah, some kind of security system, some warding or something. This is no good. I'm definitely going to struggle for a moment. And if that doesn't work, if just like if I can't just pull myself out, I might have to resort to a ritual here.
I mean, it's deep slip, right? And so it's like wading through waist-deep mud. But you can still move around, and certainly if you reached a clay wheel, you could pull yourself out.
Is anyone reacting to us?
Yeah.
No. They are completely ignoring your presence in this morass.
Is it only waist deep, or are we waist deep in it?
It is only waist deep.
If you know what I mean.
You will probably not continue sinking.
Got it. Well, I will try to find the edge and see whether it is like a gradient, a slope, or whether it's just like a kiddie pool full of slip or whatever, you know what I mean, the shape of it.
So as you begin to move through it, you kick up a cloud of white dust from the porcelain fragments jostling on the surface. And I want everyone to make a ruin roll.
Alright.
And that's just ruin?
Yep.
/ ruin? Yeah.
2 for me, so no change.
Nothing.
Oh boy.
Okay, you. Getting that ruin.
Did you already take... Who climbed the wall? That was...
We're all at 4 now.
Okay. And so, assuming that you are not the one that climbed the wall, which you're not, you too now feel clumsy and slow as your limbs feel heavy.
Interesting. Let's see, Anna, you...
Yeah,
white lung begins. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just copy that.
Okay. What do I find about the edge of the slip containment
It covers most of the
Thing.
workflow. It runs under most of the wheels and around them.
Wow.
The mannequins can move across it unaffected, but when they need slip, they seem to just dip their hands down to the floor.
I will explain this to everyone as if it is self-evident, because, of course, I understand this factory perfectly. Everyone knows that.
That is a good question. In your memory of being here before, do you recall this as a condition of the factory's floor?
Of course. This is why would you do it any other way? It's so easy to access. You use slip for everything. It's just for lubricating the pots when you throw them, for casting. So we don't do a lot of casting, but sometimes you have to have it ready. It's really just folly to do it in any other way.
Right, and very important to have a waist deep pit.
Of course.
I think I'll ask the doctor, is it toxic as I cough?
Oh, you're asking me, the doctor? That's right, two doctors. Sort of. I'm more like a doctor in training, really, and pulmonology is not part of my expertise. I'm really more of a humors, bile, phlegm sort of person. But if you start coughing up white phlegm, it's not a good sign. Talk to me again.
There's definitely hints of white phlegm on the handkerchief.
Yes, I'll pass over a flask of water and say, take 2 swigs of this and call me in the morning.
I would definitely like to drag myself out of this, thank you.
Is there something to drag onto? It's like just small areas around the wheels?
You can wade through.
I'm willing to climb. I'm willing to drag a mannequin down into this with me. Okay.
Okay.
Seems like, well, tell me if I'm wrong here. It seems like there's this porcelain-faced humanoid standing guard at the other oaken door, and that seems like our only real egress from this position.
That's a good point.
Am I missing any other sort of routes of passage?
No.
I don't recall any. Is that person the one who's guarding the door? Are they standing? Can we tell if they're standing on something solid or?
He is standing on something solid. Or, yeah. It doesn't look like a mannequin, and it is not waist deep in slip.
Well, there you go, I suppose.
Is this child mannequin still around? The one that I patched up with my blood? If so, I want to give a little sort of and kind of tip my head and gesture for her to come over.
You cannot see her.
Shucks. All right.
Did she come through the door with us, or did she see us through and leave?
Led you through the door, and then it seems you lost track of her when you ended up waist deep in some slip.
I see.
I think I've had enough of this. Are there still some windows like we saw before, lots of broken glass and stuff, as was noted previously?
There are windows, there are porcelain shards. Climbing up to a window would be quite difficult.
Well, here's the thing. Is I'm going to cast my mirror ritual and sink beneath the slip and rise again on the other side of one of those windows.
So can you try to explain to me what you're trying to do? Just not be.
This is a ritual.
No, I hear that this is a ritual, but I'm curious as to the intent here. You are trying to escape the factory by just disappearing out a window?
Oh no! I want to. I want to get out of this slip. It's terrible.
Okay.
I'm coughing up white gunk. I'm not trying to escape the factory so much as like if I can appear out just outside of a window on the precipice or something, anything that's not here. It would be even better if there's like some glass, like some shiny porcelain in a corner somewhere. Like I would happily
I would
teleport essentially to
suggest
that
that
instead.
the dry ground around the figure by the door might be a solid bet.
Right, reservoir.
Oh, okay. I thought, yeah. So if I just trudge in that direction, I'll be there shortly. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but also you could mirror there if you wanted to. Like,
I mean, if it's not a problem, if it's not like we're struggling, then yes, I will just be there.
Yeah, you are struggling as much as you would struggle waiting to receive anything. So it's not the easiest going, but you can easily, you'll be there in a few minutes.
A few minutes.
You're struggling through Waist Deep Slip. It's slow going.
Huh. Okay.
Okay.
I'm willing to slug through it.
All right.
Try through the slip and pull yourself out in front of the figure. And just as you do, it nods to you and leads you through the store. You
okay.
can follow him, and he enters the next room and takes off his mask and shakes the porcelain dust out of his hair. And again, this room is the same room that you've now been in twice. More light is coming through the windows, and there is a draped off section about halfway down the length of the room with figures moving behind it. You can hear dripping, and there is a desk with chairs by a nearby window. The man turns to you and sticks out his hand and says, "Welcome to my factory." He is incredibly
it's his factory.
ordinary in appearance.
Sorry, you said he is ordinary in appearance?
Yes.
Okay.
Incredibly so. But I guess, Anna, why does he look so familiar?
Ooh. When you meld back and forth, when you're making transformations as a beast bit and you pass through stages. If you think about the variety of humans who are out there, and think about sculpting clay, you sculpt one, you sculpt another. At a certain point, there's a median, something that is neither here nor there, and he looks like that.
I like it. So I think we've just entered ring 3, and we've only been playing an hour. But if it's okay, I would like to take about a 5-minute break just to catch my breath. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
I'm gonna mute the stream
Thank you.
and put up a timer. timer. And
Yep.
I am back, so I guess.
All right.
Okay, great. Everyone's back. Cool. So sorry, I cut, I believe, Dissonance, you off. You were saying something when I said, let's take a break, we're in room 3. So I'm sorry.
Oh. So we just met the self-proclaimed factory owner.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And was it Anna or Virgil who was saying how they knew them?
More recognized, I think. Than
Oh,
new.
okay.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Describing why he was familiar.
I wanted to introduce myself, and do a little bow, and introduce myself as Dr. Gareth Barrett formerly of the Borobudur School of the Fine Arts, and tell him that I'm in awe, and just leave it at that.
You are in awe.
See how he reacts. Yeah.
He smiles warmly and says, I would love to do something to honor your visit. I had no idea we had such distinguished guests. You see, very few people visit us. We just don't get visits all that often. For the most part, it's just me and all of my beautiful friends that I've made. And so with that, half a dozen mannequins emerge from behind the curtain. However, you can still see some figures on the other side. These mannequins have beautiful, dancer-like bodies, decorated with swirling patterns of blue and gold. They move fluidly and speak in soothing, dulcet tones. Each of them.
I would like, yeah.
Pardon
me.
Extends their hand to you as if to shake and grasp. Says, you are so beautiful. It's lovely to see such vibrant life here. It has been so long since we have seen any other people here. You have traveled so far to come here. We should give you some reward. And they pull out a collection of impressively made porcelain creations.
I think I would like to, I'll reach out and shake the hand, take the hands of each of these mannequins. Maybe I'll even bend down and kiss one.
Okay.
Or something.
Like on the cheek, like all French style.
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be great.
And before he can reveal whatever it is he's about to reveal to me, I want to kind of say to him, well, I must tell you, and I must admit that my compatriots and I are, frankly, we have a business interest in your factory, and we are simply following the money. I wonder how much would it cost to purchase the secret behind your amazing mannequins?
the man.
I'm telling you, money is no object here. I'm willing to pay a hefty sum.
He smiles even as The beautiful mannequins extend forth a full tea set on a platter with a pierced edge
Mhm.
as detailed as the finest lace. And
You
another
kind of revealed inside, like relieved, inside a little bit here, that there wasn't something terrifying in that box.
Yeah.
Good.
The other mannequins kind of start pulling at your clothes and shoes, saying, "Oh, you poor things! You're all covered in porcelain. You need a change. You've entered our
Well,
beloved
business
chamber."
before pleasure.
Uh,
Business before pleasure, my
and
dear.
the man behind them smiles and says, "I fear that the secret to my recipe is not one that most feel they could afford. Its price does not come in money."
Well, I have more than mere money. There are many secrets in this mind of mine, and perhaps we could collaborate.
In that case, let us talk in private.
Yes, that would be good.
Mannequins, distract these two, will you? And he gestures at Anna and Dr. Garrett. Wait, no, you are Dr. Garrett. Anna and Virgil.
Yes.
Don't forget to ask about the connection to the Sultan.
Oh,
As you go.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Don't make a mess of things.
Maybe that's where I'll exit, is like putting a hand around his shoulder and saying, tell me, I understand that you have connections to the Sultan. And just because I'm itching to use a ritual here, I have a ritual that lets me just skim people's surface thoughts to sense future danger or like their impressions of me or whatever. Can I do such a ritual now that I've touched him?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. And it's just a ruin roll for a ritual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you add white dice as well?
You can add light dice if this is also using a skill that you have. Otherwise, it's just a dark die. So it's actually a risk roll with 0 light dice and a dark die.
I actually do imagine that he's a skilled, like, he has some skills in empathy, particularly the skill of observation.
Okay.
So like it's combining this like real world, people reading with some with some magic as well.
Sounds good. So that's a risk roll 1/1. You could also ask for a devil's bargain.
Oh. I think I'm good here. I think I'm going to get in plenty of trouble this way.
Okay.
All right, a 4. So my ruin does go up, but I am successful.
A partial success. You could always add a dark die. Wait, no, you can't. So your
I could re-roll,
goes up.
but I don't want to.
What?
Your ruin's already 4.
Was it already 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
thought we were all at 4.
Oh, that's right. Is it only if it's higher than
yes.
your ruin?
I believe so.
Okay. Good to know. In Cthulhu Dark, I think it's where this mechanic originates from. I believe it's equal to or higher.
Okay. So you.
So what does he say? What do I sense? Yeah.
Well, you sense. / he says, "I don't know how to make porcelain. The true owner died, and I've been trapped here since then. Help me escape, and I will reward you handsomely. I am the lost prince of Richter."
Oh goodness.
Gracious.
And I sense that he is being completely truthful.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Well, this might very well have the effect of like completely absorbing me in this man's predicament, because if someone is being exploited by my enemy, then they are my friend. So I will go off with him.
That's... Sorry,
And that's kind of the gist.
Yeah, okay.
I get.
Yeah, so he will give you more details, but at some point he wants to talk to each of you individually.
You're under a spell.
Yes, I have been trapped here in
what is
this
the
very
nature?
room. I cannot leave here. That is the nature. I am trapped.
Is it you? Is it you who is ensorcelled, or this entire factory?
I do not know.
Well,
there is no one else living here to tell me whether or not they can leave.
Well, come. You should come with us. I mean, take us to the money first. We can't just leave empty-handed, of course. But if you come with us, we can find a way out. We can help you overcome any obstacle.
If you find a way out, I will be there.
No, you must come with us. I'm not so certain that we can find our way back again. If indeed this place is warded or magicked somehow.
I will come with you. But first, I would like to talk to your companions and make sure that they will be loyal to me, even if they know my heritage.
Well, let me save you some trouble. I do not think that can be guaranteed.
Perhaps, but I would like to talk to them myself. Individually.
If you wish.
And he leads you back to the group. And asks Virgil if he can speak to him in private.
Well, of course. I'm always gratified to speak with such a luminary as yourself. Let's do this.
I don't think
shoot you like an OK symbol.
The other two of you heard that he was the lost prince of Richter.
No.
I think that was
So I'm just talking. I'm just.
Okay.
I just meant like the owner of the factory. That was as far as I meant, but because I feel like that's a big deal.
Yeah. And so he pulls you aside and shows you a beautiful pear tree wrought entirely of porcelain. Asks what you think.
Well, isn't that amazing? It's just the workmanship that you can achieve here is just, it's an inspiration. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's getting me right here.
He sort of smirks and says, well, to be honest, I think it's garbage, and throws it on the floor.
You do? Why is that?
In a position like mine, you have to have very high standards. We are known for our level of craftsmanship and the extraordinary product that we produce. And if our work is not up to the absolute highest standard, then I fear, well, it may as well not leave this very room. But I am getting on in years and do need someone to take over after me. And so, I will share with you the secret of this porcelain so that you can make things yourself and direct the production of things 100 times more fine than you found that tree. But I will only do so if you and I are the only living beings in this factory.
I see. That's an interesting bargain. Can you tell me why then, if you have this power, if you have this ability, if you have this secret, why then is the output of this factory not up to your standards?
The output of some of this factory is. You've seen my work
I
before.
see.
It's just that some of these newer mannequins don't quite know how to use their gift yet.
Your gift. What is that?
It's the artistic skill I imbue them with.
Mm-hmm. Is that a difficult process?
One might say that it's bloody difficult, yes.
Ah, a broad hint. How clever. Well, thank you. It's very nice to know these things. It's a beautiful place you have here, even if it seems clear that I'm not able to appreciate it to the level that, well, anyone would desire. It's, education is
Spend
often
enough time
needed.
in these halls, and I'm sure you will be able to appreciate even the finest porcelain.
Is that how it went with you?
Oh, absolutely. I now find that the beauty in here is so much more than the beauty out there. And why would I ever need to leave?
I mean, that viewpoint seems extremely logical to me. Even the objects that you seem to find not up to snuff are, honestly, they're quite a bit better than what is outside. It seems clear to me.
I'm glad to hear that. Perhaps
Well, it's only the truth.
Can make some work on Dr. What? Oh, Dr. Barrett. While I talk to your companion, Anna, was it?
I believe
And
it
he
was.
leads you back to the group.
Okay. Wait. What did he ask me to do to Barrett?
Oh, he said start some work on Dr. Barrett. But he had told you that he would tell you he would tell you the secret to his porcelain if only the two of you were alive in the building. So
yes. No, I recalled that. I just didn't know what I wasn't sure what start work on meant, but okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's up to you.
Can I have a brief aside?
Yes?
Can I have a brief aside with Anna
Sure.
while we're waiting?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I tell you, he's a prince. He will fetch quite the price in the market.
Wait, take the prince, like abduct him ourselves, sell him?
Yes, of course. He wants to find a way out. We simply have to help him and then stuff him into this sack here. And then I brandish the hemp sack that I had before.
Right. Kidnapping's new for me, but it's not a horrible idea.
I'm telling you, he'll fetch much coin. That's good enough. Thank you for the aside.
So, he returns Virgil to the group and gestures at Anna. Do you go with him, Anna?
Well, my two companions have spoken with him privately and come back alive, so sure.
Okay. As you step off with him, he says, I didn't want to say this in front of the others, but you've been here before. You killed a man
Barely remembered.
for me
Yes.
once,
So long ago.
and I am still in your debt. The recipe is in my journal on the other side of the curtain. Don't share it with those scoundrels. Keep it for yourself. Sell it to whatever factory you want. I don't care, but the prize is yours because of the debt that I owe you.
That's very generous. There may come a time when I need to take you up on that, but I I just feel like sometimes the longer I linger with this recipe, the more parched my throat becomes. It's
Oh,
there's
no. I mean
small effect.
the print copy of my recipe, my recipe, is on the other side of the curtain. It's in my notebook. We can just go there together and fetch it.
Oh, you can certainly bring a notebook. Here, I'll let you pass through that curtain. This is a sort of a sanctum sanctorum that I don't need to penetrate.
We could bring your companions if that would make you feel easier. I just want you to be the one to get the recipe. And you alone.
As a burgeoning doctor, I have skill in sickness. Is there any diagnosis I can perform upon this individual?
On him?
Yes.
I guess you could roll for it. What are you hoping?
Questioning mental stability, questioning motives. Is this a sane being that is trying to cajole me to step behind a curtain? We've twice walked through a door and emerged in the room we exited, apparently in a different temporal space. And so I'm not super easy about just flinging open a curtain and passing through. And so I'm wondering about this being's mental stability, really.
Okay.
And I don't recall the debt, honestly, but I'm not admitting that. I don't recall why they owe me a debt.
Well, he said that he owed you a debt because you killed someone for him. Is it possible
Sorry,
you did
my
such a
garbled
thing?
over the pair, I missed that.
It's okay. Is it possible that you did such a thing and don't remember?
Oh yeah, as a beast bitten. There's a lot I don't remember, honestly. I still regret all of it.
But he does seem perhaps ill intent.
Tell me, being who still has no name, why do you keep the tome behind the curtain? Why there?
It's where I do my experiments. That's my workroom, my laboratory. I came out here to receive you because you are my guests. And even back with the others, the mannequins are still trying to pull off your boots. One is seen trying to trade you an exquisitely painted porcelain cranked music box in exchange for your slip-soiled pants. And they definitely have finer clothes around them. They are offering a trade, not a... They're not just trying to get you naked.
Good to know.
The mannequins are insisting that you are here in this beautiful place and you should be dressed equally beautifully. You are, after all, such fine specimens of humanity. You're in our beloved's chamber. You must bring the filth here. But yeah,
I agree with this. I'm absolutely gonna change.
okay.
Yeah.
Do the others?
Yeah, I certainly won't turn down clothing befitting my position, my former position.
And Anna, you certainly spent enough time being worked over by these mannequins. You also, would you let them dress you in beautiful, clean clothes?
I think I'm gonna stay a little crusty right now. I'm used to shedding my garments in moments of transformation, and sort of feel like the loose-fitting attire that I have is there for a reason. I can put it back on later. I wouldn't want something that's too closely cut.
Between Virgil and Dr. Barrett, who seems most suited to these fine clothes?
Probably Dr. Barrett. Virgil is kind of a cheap suit guy, I think. I think he's an undertaker and doesn't actually he doesn't dress well. He dresses to a certain point. So probably, I assume, Barrett handles it better.
Anna, do you agree with that? You are looking at the two of them. A disgraced mathematician.
Ooh, interesting.
And an undertaker.
I'm gonna disagree in the moment. In that I feel like Virgil has a literally low view of himself given his profession, and yet he aspires to such a noble cause that the idea of preparing his own body in sort of a new raiment is more the need than the deserving status. Like Virgil needs to be lifted up a bit with a new garment.
That's sweet.
So the owner leads you, Anna, back to the group while telling you about his workroom and the experiments that he's performed behind the curtain. He expresses surprise that you cannot smell them with your keen nose, but supposes that you may be somewhat distracted. By the events of the day and the white dust that clogs your face. And as he comes back to the group, he says, "Well, I suppose you're all here for my recipe, and I tell you that it's behind the curtain."
I'll look to the other two. So he's going to make the first move.
Yeah. But recipe for porcelain immortality? What is your recipe truly?
Yeah.
Why don't you go and see? He smiles sincerely.
And then we'll be out of here, yes?
Well, I hope not.
I knew a baker once who had a recipe for cherry danishes, and the townsfolk loved them dearly, and it was years before somebody realized that cherry danishes were really just fingertips that they were salvaging, and repurposing as dried cherries, and so I'm a little reticent to just accept a recipe at face value.
I suppose we could go and look, though. What if we all went together?
Of course, wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, thank goodness. Will we all be able to fit? We should try.
Yes. There is plenty of room behind the curtain. Who leads the way?
Oh, no. Side by side.
Like,
Yeah.
Arm in arm.
yeah, all Wizard of Oz style.
Mm-hmm.
Walking in a line.
In that case, I'd like ruin rolls from all three of you. As behind the curtain, you see three people strung upside down with their throats slit. Mannequins are massaging the bodies to help the blood flow out from their throat and into large metal buckets below them.
Do these people look familiar? He asks with hesitation.
Yes. Which do you recognize? And what did you never get to tell them?
Damn it. Oh, of course, the one directly across from me.
Mm-hmm. So two of you increase your ruin. So, distance, or Justin, did Dr. Garrett already have a condition?
A vision? No.
A condition?
Oh, a condition. Yes, I have white lung.
Oh, okay. In that case. A disorienting double vision afflicts you. You can see yourself saying and doing things moments before you do, and the echoes of the things that you've said and done moments after.
Trippy.
And then
sounds very disorienting.
Probably reminds me of the process I used to write my book. Yeah, I'm in shock.
Virgil, you feel something that can only be described as pride, looking at the blood flow from these bodies.
Okay. Pride in just the concept itself, the process?
This is beautiful work. This will make beautiful slip.
Got it.
So, it was Dr. Garrett who recognized one of the people strung up here. And who was it? It's not you, but who? Which person from your past?
Yeah.
Was it the dean who fired you?
No, that would be too nice. that would be like
too kind.
Happy moment.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, I want to say that it's like the one person who believed in my work and like helped me actually publish the book in the first place. Just before, of course, it was like I was stripped of my degree and banned from the university. I think it has to be my fellow professor in the Academy of Mathematics. Gosh, what would her name be? Lyriel, Dr. Lyriel, of, let's see, I think she's a professor of literature who helped me actually just gain access to the printing press and edited my work.
So I do want to remind you,
An astounding feat, let me tell you.
since
Yeah.
two of you are now at 5 ruin, that you can sabotage the party in exchange for reduction rolls.
Indeed, I can.
So that's just the thing that I want to remind you. But in the meantime, the owner follows you through the curtain and draws a long stiletto dagger. And as he stands and follows you, his eyes begin to fill with a liquid porcelain slip. You can hear his joints make wet popping sounds as he expands, and his flesh tears and rips as the giant porcelain monster emerges from below. Speaking,
And I think I must, because of this condition, I must be like retching on the ground from having recognized my friend. And I probably see a vision of this monster like harming me in some way, don't you think? Because I can see into the future
certainly.
slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see yourself strung up next to your friend. That is your future.
Then I think I think all of you will just see me like doubling back in shock, my head like agape, looking behind me, and I'll let you act because I certainly can't.
Yeah. Speaking
if you want us to act.
his shredded flesh mask, the owner says, "You must be dried first. That's part of it. What I have waiting in the kiln to show the world is more important than any of your lives. You are just wet meat on bones. You die and rot and are forgotten. But I have learned the secret. To mix marsh clay with bone ash baked white and clean. It's the rot in your bones that makes my porcelain so strong."
Of course, I knew it. Perfect.
And so, this giant hulking mass of porcelain, barely contained by shreds of flesh, is approaching you with stiletto in hand. And the mannequins, the beautiful mannequins covered in gold and blue, are approaching you with ceramic scalpels.
Yeah. So this is time for a ritual on my part, I think, that I'm going to cast the sigil collarbone and break something important and try and shatter the floor.
Nice.
Hopefully casting these below. The downside is that in casting the sigil, I need to crack my own collarbone to do so.
Is that how it is?
Wow.
It's how it goes with Beast Bitten, I don't know.
Wow.
It's gruesome and ugly. It's going to hurt, but that's my thought.
Well, hit it, I assume. I mean, because like whatever I'm doing, it can happen at the same time, I guess.
All right. Help me out on dice rolls here. It's a ruin because I'm casting a ritual, or are there other dice modifiers?
So you are casting using the ritual collarbone. Sorry, I was confused because my headphones stopped working and the sound came out of my speakers instead. So I had muted myself to figure that out. If you have a skill, there are definitely devil's bargains though. So you can have a light die for a skill. I think you get 2 dark dice just for using this ritual because you are clearly putting yourself in harm's way as well. And you are trying to break the floor?
Trying to break the floor, trying to hopefully cast them below us and give us room to get the hell away, basically.
Okay. Devil's bargains. There's some nearby oil lamps and candelabra that will also break, dousing the room in fire. Anyone else?
I can't think of a good one.
So you are essentially inflicting the condition broken collarbone on yourself.
Yeah, it seemed dramatic and good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll heal it later whenever I do like a shape shift and then a return to normal. It'll be just fine. Trust me. It hurts a little bit, but it'll be all right.
I see. Well,
I'm talking myself through this pain, truthfully. So, sorry, risk roll. Am I correct? And then regarding skills transformation, 1.
sure. Yeah, transformation. I offer New Devil's Bargain. If anyone else has one, they're welcome to chip in.
I couldn't think of anything good. I guess, like, it could break such that you end up under some mannequins or something, but that doesn't seem very... You'd never take that.
And I know you're not supposed to offer your own devil's bargains, but I could see sort of a splatter of clay and slip that might add to my white lung condition.
Certainly, yeah. Sure.
I don't know if we need a room on fire right now. If you're up for me taking a splatter of clay and slip, which was my own idea, I'll take that. Otherwise,
Sure.
I'll try it without a devil's
You
bargain.
can have the splatter of clay
All
and
right.
slip.
So 2 light, 2 dark.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's ugly.
Oh,
Oh, zoinks. Oh, gracious.
All right, ruin goes to 5, I believe.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yep.
Um,
And I'm picking up an additional white lung condition.
You're gonna take a white lung condition.
And a broken collarbone.
And
Sweet.
a broken collarbone. So you had one white lung condition already, right?
Correct.
And so, when active, your chest hurts and you wheeze.
Right.
Those of us in the room with asthma can say, yeah, but that's already true.
Yep, exactly. Hang on.
Yeah.
To be clear, I also have asthma. So how does this go? You know, you pop your collarbone. What does that look like in the first place?
It's kind of a snarl and a grimace in my teeth that doesn't seem to befit a otherwise somewhat, normal looking woman who spent some time studying medicine. I grab it with a hand, with a real hard shove of a thumb, snap it, but there's this snarl of teeth and a ferocious growl that accompanies that crack. Some sweat on the brow, and the floor hopefully caves in as desired. And then a bit of a tear or 3 and a bit of a run of snot from my nostrils from the stress, and I wipe that away, and there's a bit of white clay embedded in the mucousy smear on my wrist.
So the floor caves in, but there was no basement. There is no basement. And so now the ceramic and shattered state of the floor is now basically like a rough rock pile, right? Like you are standing on 2 or 3 feet deep of gravel. And the giant owner stumbles, but his graceful mannequins kind of gracefully jump over the shock bite of the floor and continue to approach on all of you with their scalpels.
Alright, here's the part where, with the trickle of blood and clay down my nostrils, I point directly at the owner and I say, "Remember, you owe me."
He says, "Well, I will do what I would give you. There is my formula in the notebook on the table behind those three."
I'm going to use the ritual on the owner because I'm starting to think that he's making a mess of things, and so I'm going to use my stomach sigil and try to turn him inside out. I'm not sure.
Oh god.
Yeah. So I think I don't think I have to destroy my own. I don't actually know how the information about breaking your own collarbone reached you, but
I think it was just an excellent bit of roleplay, honestly.
It was wonderful. I'm not gonna say no.
Just don't make me cast again, please.
You have another one. Let's see. I can't. I don't actually have. I mean, I guess I could stab myself and get the stomach out and turn it inside out. I guess if I really had to, but I probably wouldn't do a real good job of it. So, probably what I will do is draw a symbol in the air and take like a small canvas bag and turn it inside out, like symbolically, to try to create a sympathetic magic situation.
Small
Say
canvas
again?
bag, inverting. Yeah, okay. I like that. So you get 1 dark die for the ritual. Are you using a skill? And what are you trying to do here? Is disable essentially...
Symbols?
Symbols will work for me. And
I'm sorry. I think you're cutting in and out a bit.
Symbols, I said symbols will work for me. So you have 1 for the ritual, 1 for the skill. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to disable the owner here?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn him inside out.
Yes, disable.
Yeah. My point is that this is a lethal action against the owner. That's what you're trying to do.
Yes. It's super is.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what's in there, but I'm gonna find out.
God, I hope it's lethal.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to borrow Brian's Devil's Bargain from last time and say, this is a giant porcelain monster. If you invert him, there will be a splatter of slip everywhere. And so you will all have to make white lung rolls.
I'm going to take that risk. I think this is an occupational hazard. I think I'm okay with it. So I also don't have any yet, so it's easier for me to say. I will roll this. Oh! Good thing I took that Devil's Bargain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, do you want to add a dark
Yeah.
die and re-roll? You're welcome to do so.
Sure. I thought Devil's Bargain automatically succeeded. Is that not so?
No. You get another life die
Okay.
for a Devil's Bargain.
There's a lot of things I don't understand about this. Yeah, sure.
So,
No, it's my fault.
I think it's Devil's Bargain automatically happens, success or no.
I see. Yeah, I'll give it another shot. There we go. And my ruin is now 6.
Shit.
Oh wow.
So, let's talk about Anna's end. You invert this giant porcelain monster, Um. Wait, this isn't Anna. This is Virgil.
Anna's?
Why?
Okay.
Let's talk about
Yeah,
Virgil's end. You invert this giant porcelain monster, and I think as your ruin goes up, and yes, everybody else will need to make a white line roll, but you know that this is your factory, and your companions are here to steal your recipe.
Terrible.
And so, excuse me as I readjust in my chair. And so yeah, I don't know how you want what you want Virgil's epilogue to be, but I can certainly imagine several vectors by which Virgil turns against the others.
Yeah, can you go over again for me what 6 ruin means, like in a
So 6
to be
ruin
clearest,
is the
what
end of
happens?
your character, and so that can mean death, but it also just means the lack of agency. And in particular, typically you would be lost to the forest if we were venturing into a forest. Here, I think, especially given your conditions, it makes sense for you to be lost to the factory, with the newly vacated position of factory owner, to step into his shoes. But we can decide what that looks like, because this is a narrative game. And so yeah, you can no longer act in service to your companions.
That was what I was thinking.
And it's against the factory, but you still get to choose what that looks like.
Yeah, no, indeed. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to know the rules. Got it. Yeah, so I think got it. Okay, so he will pick up whatever is closest to the mask of the owner and hold it in front of his face, and take a porcelain knife from one of the mannequins and go after Gareth, because Gareth seems easier to get at, because he is somewhat he's not feeling so good.
I am going to say
I've been
that as you do that, you knock over a candelabra, and so the room catches fire and the other mannequins catch fire, so you are unaffected. And so now you have mannequins on fire wielding knives approaching your companions, your former companions.
Can I suggest that I see you turn around with like murder in your face just as fire separates us? Maybe?
I don't see why not.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Virgil's absolutely screaming about how wasteful all this is, and how, this is just inexcusable resource-wise. He probably gets very angry about the fire.
Yeah, well, this is going to shit in front of... pardon if that's not allowed on your stream.
It absolutely is. I swear a lot.
Well, thank God.
In front of me, I have a former companion with murder on their mind, and behind me, I have the dead corpses of several individuals hanging. I think this is going to require some quick observational ability.
There is.
So I would like to find an escape route.
Behind the corpses, there is a door that glows with heat, but exists.
Yes. I'll yell to Anna from across the room, and I'll say, Anna, there is a way out. I'm going. I'm sorry. And I'll run towards the exit.
Okay.
leaving my friend behind.
All right. And I feel like I'm going to, if the timing is appropriate, try to make use of my beast form ritual and see if I can shift into something a little more fast and limber and speed through, with the slight caveat that if that door opens and it's just a ball of flame, I'm gonna just kick Dr. Barrett right through it and reverse course. It's like springboard off him.
Fair.
So, Barrett, as you push through the door, it is searing hot, and so you gain burned hands. And also, Anna, I would like to see your reduction roll for trying to shove Garrett out of the way, and 2, your risk roll for this ritual plus shoving Garrett.
Reduction first?
I think the risk roll first.
Risk roll first, okay. So risk is light and dark. 1 for the light skill, or the light ritual. Or sorry, transformation skill, 1 for the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 light, 1 dark, yes.
Yes, and you could have a devil's bargain if you would like.
Anybody?
You want to be something small and fast. And you want to shove Garrett out of the way. I think...
I mean, something like a fox or a dog would work great.
Yeah, but I also think just being closer to the ground triggers a white lung roll. Like, you are going to be kicking up a lot of dust, and you are going to be much closer to the ground. And so it'll be in your face.
So is that a separate ruin roll, or is this 2 dark dice in the risk roll?
I think that would be 2 light dice. And yeah, you could do 2 dark dice. I don't actually care how you do that. I would do it as a separate ruin roll, but...
Does Trophy have opposing rolls? Like
No.
Cthulhu Dark?
Okay. That said, I'm curious, narratively, what are you thinking?
Oh,
give me a good story, I'll break my own leg.
Just me defending myself by like, you know, I probably will actually like leave the door open for you, until I see you like barreling towards me, you know, about to push me into this searing hot room, and then something will happen if I succeed, and something will happen if I don't. But if there's no opposing rolls in this game, it's a moot point.
All right. Here's my thought, and shoot it down. It's that I did not take the devil's bargain for a white lung because I don't need more ruin at this point. I'm at 5 right now. If I go with 1 light for the skill, 1 dark for the ritual, and see if I can successfully transform myself and make a dash with you.
Okay.
And then I might be dead before I get a chance to shove you through a flaming door.
Oh.
3 and a 3, so failed, yes?
Failed. So you could add another dark die and reroll, but I am more interested in how you failed. You were trying to transform yourself into something small and fast. And you described previously this slipping in between state, and how the owner looked like something kind of in between, like a misshapen piece of clay.
Yep.
And so is that what you look like now?
A bit more misshapen. That a leg is a touch too long and another leg is a touch too short. That some clay dust has plugged a nostril and resulted in a snout that is ridiculously asymmetrical to the point that it affects my breathing, and there's this sort of like coming from my nostrils at every moment. And so,
And
Dr. Barrett knows exactly my position behind him at any moment.
also refused the clean clothes. So you are coated all
Definitely.
over in slip, right? Which is definitely hardening as you approach this very hot door.
Excellent.
So, this next room is much smaller than the previous rooms. Sounds like you both make it in.
It sounds like it. If I may,
Mm-hmm.
I think Barrett didn't know what you had planned and might even like rush back into the room to scoop you up in whatever form you're in and take you through the door.
But there's a look in my eyes that you just don't quite trust.
Yeah. So I rush into the room, the bundle under my arm.
And is Virgil behind us? Is the building collapsing? Are we sealing a door to try and prevent Virgil from following? Virgil, how do you feel? Well, Virgil's tell me.
Yeah, am I still steering, or
You can tell me what you want here.
okay?
No, actually, you
yeah,
can't.
I mean, he would try to follow. Oh, well, in that case.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You would
No, it's
try to
fine.
follow, but, yeah. The owner will slam close the door behind them and can be heard on the other side, barring a metal beam and laughing. So now that owner is you.
Nice.
Oh, got it.
So
That's right. Ah.
Virgil, you've got some new ways to preserve Vessa's body now.
I'm excited.
You absolutely do.
As long as this place doesn't burn down.
Virgil's gonna come mess with that.
This room is much smaller than the previous rooms. It is the inside of a kiln mid-firing. The air sears your throats, and your hair burns and begins to smoke. The walls of the kiln are lined with fireboxes containing porcelain pottery, all teacups. The fire burns in the middle. There is a metal
I'm afraid
ladder
we couldn't
that
save.
leads up.
I'm afraid we couldn't save Virgil. Anna, something was not right with that one. Now, what to do? What to do? You don't seem well, Anna.
No, we definitely need a means of egress, and we seem to just step deeper into the inferno with every moment here.
If I could only find a window, we could be out of here.
There's a searing ladder, metal ladder that leads up, and you can see through the chimney of the kiln hints of gray sky.
Let's take it.
Virgil, I can't climb with you in my arms. Do you think you can? Sorry, not Virgil. Anna, I can't climb with you in my arms. Do you think you could position yourself just so around my neck?
I know what you're up to, but I'll play along. Yes.
So I'm going to kind of wear Anna like a scarf or like a fur coat or something.
Gently with the collarbone, please.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
collarbone.
And I'm gonna climb the ladder precariously.
Okay.
Quickly.
So
because at any moment, I don't want Virgil bursting in.
One, I need white lung rolls, which are ruin rolls, from both of you. Just for moving around in this space. Like, this is a kill. There is porcelain dust everywhere.
All right. I failed, but I didn't raise my ruin.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's it. Ruin rolls, lower is better in a way. So it's not really a failure.
That's right.
And then 2, this is a metal ladder in the midst of a kiln mid-firing. And so your hands are already burnt from having opened the door to this room.
Yeah.
And as you clutch the ladder, yeah, like this is very painful.
I think I pushed through. I probably like wrapped my hands, but like it's a sorry sight as we see. Like my shoes are starting to melt under me, probably, or scald anyway.
The back legs, and which are on the fire side, you can feel like the fat of your thighs bubbling.
Christ, all right.
I will goad you on. Remember the Sultan of War.
So I think this is going to be a ritual to climb the ladder. This is very painful, being in this space.
Yeah, and I do not have any relevant skills here. So I am going to request a devil's bargain.
Okay.
Make this even worse for myself.
Do you have one in your mind? Otherwise...
You say no skills, but observation. Is there a chance that you see, I don't know, a pulley to a window, a way to leverage yourself off the...
I like the way you're thinking, but sometimes there's no observing your way out of a room. You just have to climb.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, and also kills don't typically have windows in them, so that's really...
That is true.
Right. I almost imagine this is more of a smokestack or something, and I'm just climbing to like an air flue or something.
If you get to the top, your hands are useless forevermore. Like, you already badly burned your hands, and now you are climbing a metal ladder in the middle of a firing kiln.
Coin a phrase that's smoking hot.
I am going to reject your offer. Thank you.
Okay.
And I am going to roll simply with the dark die.
I like it.
See if this works. A 2. It does not work.
So I think...
But I could re-roll.
You could.
Until this succeeds.
Mm-hmm. Keep adding dark dice.
And I think that this is just me, like, I just keep burning. Like, this is me finding more and more ways to, like, fail protecting myself here. So, like, I wrap my hands. It heats up through the wrappings.
I actually think that your wrappings catch fire.
Right.
Like, this is hot. Your clothes will burn and catch fire.
Yeah, so I desperately remove that clothing and, like, pour water over my head. And let's roll again.
Kilns routinely are like...
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Like 800 or 900 degrees is like normal for a kiln.
Yeah. Anna, I don't know if we'll make it.
Anna,
just, it's or nothing. I would suggest go, but if I can make another go at beast form here and try and turn myself into some languid, I don't know, elongated beasts that can yank ourselves vertically quicker, I will certainly do so.
What kind of beast would that be? I guess you could, like, turn into a giraffe and throw...
I was thinking more like a thing that's used to brachiating and swinging by its arms. And
orangutan, or something like that. Yeah, okay.
A bit of upper body strength.
Sure. Try beast form. That's 1-1 for you. And so this is Anna taking over, trying to help. I think My devil's bargains. After this transformation, you find yourself broken in a way that only human blood can fix.
Ooh. Okay.
Similar to the child doll that you repaired earlier.
Yeah. Any other one?
How about you? You can't get out of that beast form for until you get, let's say, also blood.
Okay.
I hear a beast form.
Yeah. It's thundering. My dog clearly has opinions on that.
Let's just kind of take the symbiosis of both of those. That there's some permanent breakage. I got a collarbone that's busted. I've got some permanently given length arm structures to go along with the misshapen lower structure of my legs. Sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
Oh.
No.
No.
It's time to risk body and mind to succeed, right? Can I throw another direct die?
Sure, throw another direct die in.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
You got a 4 this time, so.
Tell me what happens.
So, I am up for an epilogue here. It seems like you are not destined to get out of this kill. I like the idea that you managed to get almost all the way to the top so that, birds passing by can see your skeletons, one horribly misshapen, like clutched to the top of this ladder. But yeah,
I will ask, they did get a 4, which is a partial success. Would that not indicate that they get out? But, obviously terrible things happen to them.
I mean, I love the idea that Anna gets out as this, like, burnt and mutated orangutan-looking thing with a thirst for human blood. Like, I am completely fine.
And I like that. Might I suggest then, if this is ending time, they have a thirst for blood, and I think I know whose blood they were going to use to sate that requirement here.
At least to
and
sate
so
it
as they get out,
first.
I just kind of want to look. I just want to look up at them from the ladder, with like a pained expression on my face, and then say, give my regards to, and then I'm going to like fall backwards into the kiln, just as they reach the top.
Very nice.
And so that brings us to the end of Bone White. And real fast, Michael pointed out in the chat that we made a couple rules mistakes towards the end there. And so I do just want to acknowledge that if you only roll one dark die, you're technically not allowed to re-roll. I liked the feeling because you're in this desperate climb, but and then also if the dice are tied, you're also not supposed to re-roll because the dark die is also highest. And so I just want to acknowledge that we made those rules mistakes. But thank you all for playing with me. Any thoughts before I end the stream?
I kind of want a little more epilogue from Virgil, who's got a burning factory that Virgil once owned. That orangutan beast on the roof.
Yeah, what happens?
I think that's up to you, Virgil. You started this fire. I'm happy for the fire to get put out, and for you to take over the operation of this factory.
I think it was an accident that he started the fire, but still.
Oh, absolutely.
I I think he tries to put out the fire as best he can, like using whatever mannequins are still operational, but it still kind of smolders for a while, and he spends a good another few decades trying to repair the factory and get it back to its heights of functionality. And he absolutely has a tea set, a porcelain tea set made with the incinerated bone mass of Anna and Gareth. And it's actually trash, and he destroys it.
I like that.
I want to know what becomes
Didn't even make a good
of Vess.
Oh. She's just, I mean, they died. Like, they're dead.
Mhm.
So
But
they probably
do
just
you-
rot in a,
Do you wrap their bones in a
catacomb.
beautiful mannequin? You now run this
I
factory.
don't have the ability to access them. I suppose that's true. I could send out mannequins to go and get, them.
or make a better teacup.
There you go. That's interesting. I think that. Okay, so what he will do is he will have made what is basically a reliquary out of ceramic and have it like enameled with really elaborate, patterns and everything and it'll look like one of those coffins that has like a saint or a knight, sort of worked into the lid, but it will contain the bones of Vess. He's no longer interested in preserving them perfectly, but the bones are there inside a porcelain edifice. That's what I think.
Excellent. I like that image. Any other epilogue people want to add on?
No, that feels pretty tidy.
Nobody else has goals that go amiss in interesting ways when they're not there.
Let me think. I think it might be appropriate to see just a brief image of the Sultan lounging in his palace, and he opens up my book. And I think that there might be a passageway in there about like theorizing about how to imprint another's soul onto a inanimate object. Yeah.
I'll add this that teacup that was made with my burned bones that didn't
Wasn't good
meet
enough.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. Every now and then, people who pass through the factory or the mannequins that pass through the factory notice a few shards in the corner that occasionally, in a subtle, small way, try to shift form and try to change, and yet are unable to do so. They can't reform into a decent teacup, and they can't escape their current shattered condition.
Oh gosh, I like the idea that they're just reusing the pottery shards over and over again of made from our bones.
No, that's the thing about ceramic. You can regrind it up and potentially, remake it into clay. It's very weird.
Beautiful.
Well, in that case, I guess I'll do a bit of outro. Once again, I'm Mags Maynard. You can, I'm going to be streaming Candlelight next week at the same time, so that's 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Eastern. Candlelight is by Gabriel Robinson, and it's kind of a backwards incursion about balancing hope and despair. It's a rooted in Trophy Dark game. And so, yeah, if you're interested, tune in. And also, I do have spots left for people to play if they're interested in playing. And then, so that's me. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they want to plug while we're still live. Otherwise, I will sign off.
I will hop on your offer to plug, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Justin. I'm Justin Ford, aka Dissonance, aka at Mothlands on Twitter. And I am a game designer, and you can find my wares at moth-lands.itch.io, where you can pick up what I kind of consider a sister game to Trophy, Cthulhu Deep Green, made in with cooperation from members of the Gauntlet, and as well as my in development Forge in the Dark game, Mothlight, and others. Thank you.
Nice.
That was very pro.
Anyone else?
Well, let's see. Well, you could, if you wanted to, play my previous video games, which are entitled Gone Home and Tacoma. You can find them on Steam or any old goddamn place on the internet.
What?
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 Those
I mean,
are
video
great.
games. What?
Those are good games.
Oh, heck.
That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can play them. You could buy them, play them. Not you, but people who are listening to this potentially. I mean, you could also. I don't know. I'm not here to put you in a box.
Yeah. And
I don't have anything else to plug.
on behalf of Brian, actually, sorry not to speak for you, but on behalf of myself, being a disease ecologist, campaign your local school districts to do remote learning for the fall. That's my additional plug.
Hear, hear.
God, jeez. No, that's really good.
Good
Alright.
plug.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
seriously.
watching. And
Probably
yeah.
good plug.